My name is Justin Szlasa. I'm the producer of the documentary Side by Side, which is having its Munich premiere here at the Munich Film Festival. It's a documentary about the way digital technology has changed the way movies have been made. After about 100 years of producing movies with film, with a photochemical process, that process has changed and given way to a digital process that we explore in Side by Side. The side-by-side is not about taking one argument or one position. So we try to take a cross-section of opinions from directors, from producers, from technicians, from camera manufacturers, from film students, and get their impressions on how digital is changing the way films have been made, what's been gained, what's been lost, what does the future bring. We just simply tried to create a forum where people can express what they think about the industry and how things are changing and what that means. And even in certain individuals, they're conflicted. So it's that's what we really try to capture on screen with the way that we edited the film and the work that our director did, Chris did, to put things together. Well, I mean, you know, whether film will die out or whether it will live forever, you know, I don't know. I think that there's certainly a lot of pressure in a lot of ways on photochemical film. It's a technology that's been very stable, and it's over 100 years old now, and I think it has a lot of challenges. And if you just look at the economic model for film and shooting on film, it's difficult. It's not just about the actual film itself. It's also film implies a whole set of processes, lab processes and chemical processes and a whole way of working in a workflow that is definitely under pressure and changing. I mean, yeah, the thing is the cameras, there's a race, it's a foot race on cameras, and new cameras are being introduced every year and that just, it's not just the camera bodies, it's the codecs and what's a capture codec and what's the optimal editing codec, and then, you know, even with DCPs, it's not settled yet. I think we all kind of want something that would be as stable and perfect as maybe what an Ariflex 35mm camera could give us, but it's not. We're not there yet. It hasn't settled. And I think that it probably will. The processes will start to settle. And I think that the Alexa is taking steps in that direction. I think that these processes are going to start to become established and more standardized. It's going to have to happen. You know, I mean, in 1909, they standardized 35mm film, 4 per film, and that became a standard of presentation for. It still exists today, over 100 years later. That's the standard for projecting film. We have nothing like that in digital. There's no standards even close to that or even approximating that. It's still unsettled. Well, I mean, people. I mean, that was my opinion. Let me say that people have all kinds of opinions about 3D, and some people say, yeah, it's just a marketing thing to help us get more money at the box office. It's just something new. Other people say it just can't serve a story well, and like you can't make, you know, kind of a small sensitive film in 3D. It wouldn't make any sense. But I mean, I think that I saw Avatar in 3D and I thought it was unbelievable. So I mean, I think that it too has a long way to go. And you know, Scorsese made Hugo in 3D, and there's some great, when it's used and it's done well, I think it can be really incredible. But it's not always done well, and I think that's something too that we're learning how to do a better job with. We edited Mike Long and Malcolm Hearn, our editors, and Chris Kenneally, our director, tried to capture that conversational tone that Keanu had with James Cameron, with Christopher Nolan, with, you know, Michael Chapman, and we had a plan with the questions, but we also kind of Keanu kind of let it flow and let the direction of the interviews kind of take its course in a way that we covered the ground we needed to, but it wasn't formulaic. I think that what's interesting is that I thought going into the project that all the older guys were going to want to be film people and all the younger are going to be digital, but it didn't work that way at all. And I think that a lot of the younger DPs, including Bradford Young and Reed Moreno and Wally Pfister for sure, who's a little bit older, but they're very strong and proponents of film and feel very strongly about film, where some of the older DPs don't necessarily have the strong attachment I expected they would have. Well, we had a very small team, and Chris was the main horsepower behind the project. He was the writer, the director, but Chris had an inclusive process, and Keanu and I weighed in on the process along the way, along with Chris Cassidy, our director of photography, and also our editors, of course. So we would check in from time to time, and say, oh, how's this going? How's that going? Maybe we should get another interview. So we were small, and we played a lot of positions on the field. So if somebody couldn't make it or we had a gap, we could kind of pinch hit and help out. Do I have any advice for you? I think the best thing to do is just start making movies. I mean, I think that's the best way to go, because the tools you have at your disposal are phenomenal. And 10 years ago, anybody at the same school would be so jealous to have the opportunity that you guys have. So I think you need to. If you want to make films, you have no excuse not to make films. So do it.